famous Broadway musical that was recently brought to us on Disney Plus this 4th of July weekend. It was filmed back in 2016 with the original Broadway cast, but it was brought to us here pretty recently. It stars Lin-Manuel Miranda, Philippa Sue, Leslie Odom Jr., Renee Elise Goldsberry, and a lot of really other talented people. Hamilton is the story of Alexander Hamilton, who is the founding father of the country of the United States of America, and this follows his life as he tries to build up a nation and make a name for himself, really, as he comes out of a rough past and really has nothing to his name. But his ideas of how things should be run don't necessarily line up with some of how the other founding fathers' ideas of how things should be run, and Hamilton has to fight through all these obstacles. Right out of the gates, I want to let you know that I really, really love this musical. I haven't seen a ton of musicals in my life, but I've seen enough to know that when I watched this one, it was really different. But it was really different in a really good way. If you didn't know, Hamilton is all hip-hop and rap music. And there are a few songs throughout that are some what you would consider to see in your standard musical, just on the way that they sound and the way that they're sung. But this one, most of all of the songs are done in a way that is rapping and rhyming, and it's really, really different, but it's done in a really, really fantastic way. One thing that I thought was a really, really good example of how Hamilton stands out from your standard musical, like I was just saying, is that there isn't a moment in this musical where you hear the music fade and you hear the music die down and characters just stop and converse with each other. They use dialogue just to converse. You don't ever see that happening in Hamilton. When they do that, the music is still playing and we still hear these characters rapping and rhyming. Because of this, I think that the soundtrack of this movie really stands out, because in your standard musical soundtrack, normally they are going to have those scenes where music dies down and you hear them talk. And so if you haven't seen that musical live, or you haven't seen it recorded or anything like that, and you are just focusing on listening to the soundtrack, a song can come on and you may not fully understand why a character is feeling a certain way and singing about the way that he or she feels. You may not understand that because you didn't see the talking scene of what actually happened. And in Hamilton, it's so different because we don't have those talking scenes, and it all is just continuously set to music, and we all just hear this rhyming and this rapping, and so you can listen to it without ever having to see it live or recorded, even though I think seeing it live or recorded to have visuals in your mind when you listen to the soundtrack would be good. You don't have to do that. You can just listen to the soundtrack, and that is really cool because it's so set apart from any other musical. Because everything has to rhyme and be sung, I can't even imagine how much of a nightmare this was to write. Lin-Manuel Miranda gets across conversations with characters, what characters want to do, why they want to do them, how they're feeling based on what happens in the musical, and he pulls it off. I don't know how he pulls it off. He has a compelling story to tell. He has likable characters. He has really incredible songs that are catchy and fun and exciting and energetic, and that you just really want to listen to and sing along with. I cannot say it enough. Lin-Manuel Miranda really knocks it out of the park and writes something really astonishing here, not just for some random musical, but for a movie in general. Like, this guy wrote this, and it blows my mind. The humanization and characterization of the founding fathers, and really just everyone in this musical in general, is really, really fantastic. As I was watching this, I felt like the people in this, and really the founding fathers for specific, I felt like they were people that you could know or be friends with or just have a conversation with, because they are so relatable and they have actual flaws that you can see, character traits that you would like, aspirations and dreams that you can kind of relate to, or you can see they have struggles that they go through in life. And I know that the founding fathers and some of the people that they portrayed in this movie were not the founding fathers probably didn't act like this. I know that they didn't act like this, but it is still good to have a visual and be reminded that, hey, the founding fathers, sometimes we can look at them like they are these gods and we should just worship the ground that they walked, but we need to remember that they were people too. They had flaws, they had struggles, they had dreams that they wanted to conquer. You know, it was just a really good reminder. The characterization and the humanization of everyone in this movie was really, really excellent, and I loved it. I want to give a shout out to all the actors and actresses in this movie. Every performance in this was absolutely perfect, and I really don't want to point out anyone in particular. So I really just want to say that every performance in this was absolutely spectacular, and it was perfect. I didn't find anything wrong with the performances, in my opinion. The way that these actors had to deliver their lines, had to sing their lines, sometimes it could just feel overbearing with how much that they had to deliver in this really small amount of time. And they would constantly pull it off all throughout this. And to think that they had to do this every single night, I'm sure that some of them are still there. Some of the original cast may still be there, I don't know. But to think that these actors have to pull that off every single night, that is incredible. Every performance in this is perfect. Something else I really loved about Hamilton was the fact that it actually was really funny for a serious musical, which is what I like to think of this as. They threw in some comedic moments that really landed, and I think a really good example of that is King George. This guy made me laugh so hard. He threw me off the first time that I watched it because I didn't expect this musical in general to be as funny as it was, but then when this guy came out on the stage, he made me laugh so hard. I don't want to spoil anything that he does because I feel like I would just be ruining his comedic moment, but every time I would hear the piano kick up with his song saying that he was going to walk out on stage, I would just laugh thinking about what he was going to do, and then once I would see it, I would just lose my mind at how funny it was. So there were a lot of moments that landed, and throwing this into a serious musical, that's hard to do. So when these moments really landed and they really connect with the audience, really make them laugh like it made me laugh, that's amazing. That's flawless. You were able to do something like that. I think that there were a few moments in this musical where the story could have dragged or it just could have been boring. But I think that they save it with a lot of things that they do. I think the music kind of helps with that. But there's one particular moment, or actually two particular moments in this musical where I think that they really save themselves from doing something that could have been really, really boring, and that's the cabinet meetings. Having these cabinet meetings, these boring moments from history, and having Jefferson and Hamilton go at each other's throats in this epic rap battle, and narrating this really boring moment in history and making it fun and exciting for the audience to engage in. It was one of my favorite moments in the musical. So it was so much fun, and that cabinet meeting and a few other moments throughout the musical, I believe, really saved themselves from some really potentially boring moments in the musical, and it really was great. I also was really impressed by the way that they filmed this, and especially the way that they edited this. I don't think that Hamilton was ever a musical that was ever meant to be filmed, but they really capitalized on how great they could make the editing and how great they could make the camera work and the camera techniques. I'm thinking of a sequence during the song Satisfied that necessarily I don't think you would get the same experience. I would think it would be close, but I don't think you would get the same experience that you get watching it on Disney Plus that you would get sitting in the seat. When you're sitting in the seat, I feel like you don't get into Angelica's head. You don't know how she's feeling as much as you would watch it on Disney Plus, if that makes sense. I feel like watching it on Disney Plus during the song Satisfied, when everything is, especially when it's going into like the rewind, the camera work and the editing is very fast paced, and I believe that it allows you to get inside Angelica's mind a little bit easier than it may be sitting in the seat seeing it live. And I'm sure you would still get that, but there are just moments where I think that they really, seeing it on Disney Plus, it was actually may have been a little bit better than seeing it live. And I thought the audio as well still held up pretty good, despite, having it be on a TV instead of hearing the actual acoustics and the way it should sound in the theater. I thought it was really well done. Honestly, guys, when this musical came out, I saw and heard everyone lose their minds about how good this was. And I'm talking about when the musical came out, like before it was on Disney Plus, like years ago, when this came out on Broadway. And I thought in my mind, this can't be as good as what people are saying it. If I ever get to see it, I feel like it's not going to be as good as what people are saying. It's going to be overhyped. And so when I finally got to see it on Disney Plus, I didn't even see it live, but I saw it on Disney Plus, and in my mind, it was like underhyped, if that makes sense. It was crazy how my mind was just blown at how great this musical was. Hamilton, I'm gonna give an A+. If you haven't seen this, you need to get on Disney Plus right now. If you haven't signed up for it, you need to sign up for it. And I would even pay for Disney Plus just to watch Hamilton. This musical is absolutely phenomenal. If you have a brain in your head, you're gonna love it and appreciate it as much as I do. And like I said, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch this right now. A+ in my mind for Hamilton. And that is going to do it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw here, please leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. Please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and get notifications when new videos are posted, which will be weekly. And the review is now concluded.